Initially, I was going to do this as Low versus Farage, the final punch-up, because I just thought really interesting the way that both these politicians have gone since Low has kind of effectively left the reform team, or rather,
a generous way of putting it.
Yes, no,
after Low was kicked out and stitched up,
brutalised, stitched up, put to the police. But anyway, just I thought to myself, how has Nigel Farage reacted to this kind of departure? And of course, the call of Low to many of us to join his new movement, Restore Britain, which is doing incredibly well, over 120,000, is it? Something like that?
I can't remember what it is.
Something like that on X. But I thought, why is it that people in reform are still kind of sticking with Farage? And why are they really opposed to Low? And why are people like us saying, we've got to be really careful? And no, Rupert, you can't come on the show right now at all. No, I'm talking about your band. So there we go. And what we have is a situation where I thought, let's just analyse the policies. Let's analyse exactly what they say and see who's left, who's right, and who should be put into the political bin for those who believe in conservative, patriotic values of this nation. So let's begin with Rupert Lowe. We'll talk about illegal migrant criminals clogging up prisons. And here is Rupert talking about the migrant crisis.
Deportations of people who are in America illegally, who, like here, broke in across America's borders illegally and are living there. And he's organising mass deportations, as many as he can. You've advocated that in the past, Rupert, and a lot of people agree with you. Why is it that your former party, Reform UK, Nigel Farage in particular, why are they so against your idea of mass deportations or repatriating at least some of the people who broke into our country and reside here illegally at our expense? Why is Reform UK against that, do you think?
Well, you'll have to ask him that question, Kevin, but you're quite right. He did try and water down several of my speeches which talked about mass deportation. I never, as he incorrectly said, talked about repatriation. What I talked about was deporting those people who arrive here illegally, those people who are living here illegally, and those foreign criminals who are clogging up our prisons, about 10,500 of them, who have broken the law. So I think we have to start by deporting those people who are not being good citizens. And when we say they're illegal migrants, and I think they are.
Right, so I'm going to stop there. Deportation seems pretty reasonable at the moment. I mean, are there any?
Everyone agrees.
Everyone agrees.
Literally, even more than half of Lib Dem voters agree.
Yeah. And in the United States, do we see anything like that? Is the left winning in the United States? No. We see 1 billion, or is it 1 trillion? It's 1 trillion is like that kind of big, beautiful bill. But at least 1 billion of that is going towards ICE.
Or was it? No, it's 170 billion
170
ICE and other border-related functions.
Yeah, and that's going to go and get rid of people who are illegal, committing crimes, and are generally not in the interest of the United States. So we seem to have a completely kind of ideology now that's coming around the very sensible view of deportation. I don't see anything wrong with that. So what is it that Farage is saying on this? Well, I go, total socialist tripe from Farage, the mass policy you promised on the April 24th. Where is it? Well, Farage promised it.
What's he replying to?
Reforms Britannica will bring wealthy job creators back to the UK and directly benefit working people.
This is just a copy of Trump's gold card, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like the
Pay
Doge
your way
thing.
into our economy.
Just like the Doge thing. It's a good copy of Trump. He's got no ideas of his own.
So he's got no views, no ideas, despite this kind of organisation that allegedly is being created at the moment in the same offices as him. Although, just as an aside, I only found out recently that actually the Reform offices down in Westminster are actually owned by our favourite supporter of the left, and his name's just gone.
What, who is it?
A multi-billionaire.
Are you about to say?
It's owned by Soros.
I was about to say Soros as a joke.
Yeah, one of Soros's entities owns the building in which Reform UK is renting for it. I don't know whether that's a subliminal message that he's giving out to my friend.
To be fair, it's probably inevitable.
Yeah, it's that kind of sort of thing. So Reform and Farage said, yeah, we'll bring down a policy on deportation. Nah, we're not going to do that. And then we have Basil says deporting all illegal immigrants is an aspiration now, not a policy. And I think this was actually, I mean, I'm not a great fan of this particular journal.
What, Fraser Nelson?
No.
Yeah, no.
Now let's talk about another big
I don't know
pledge
what a fan of him
to
looks like.
basically remove all illegal
Partly
immigrants.
his voice, I'm afraid. You shouldn't
1.2
really
million
pick on
people. How
people
would
just
you
because of the
even
way that
begin
they look
to
or
remove
sound.
every single one?
Well, there's 100,000 in hotels that shouldn't be in the country at all. We have to aim high.
Are you saying you would like to, or are you saying that you will? There's a big difference in
No, we're
politics.
saying that is what we aim to do.
Aim to do, not what you will do.
Even if we get a long way towards it, it will still be a massive next.
Yeah, so it's an aspiration. You know, I aspire to one day having a Formula One car alongside a Ferrari outside of me, but it's not practical. It's not going to happen unless I win the lottery.
He's improved since the Stephen Edgington interview, right, where he said that mass deportations wasn't an aspiration of his.
Well, that it was actually impossible.
Yeah, so this is actually an improvement.
Yeah, well, is it because he's being pushed
Oh, yeah,
by people
100%.
like ourselves?
100%.
People like Lowe is saying, and he's falling behind. And on this particular policy, which is very clear. So I say, round one, who is the winner on deportation?
Well, it's obviously Lowe.
Got to be Lowe. So round two, let's move into the next one. And then it is, oh, actually, no. So I've just got to throw this. That was the mass deportation interview. But I just wanted to finish off that where Farage is, even the Conservatives, not that they like it, have actually got a deportation bill.
14 years!
Yep, 14 years.
Deport all of them.
Yep.
It was the Conservatives who began putting them in the hotels.
Yeah.
It was the Conservatives who, all of the things, everything bad that has happened with woke, with immigration, really that's all the Tories.
I'm sure Cameron would have preferred to have put them in your home so that you could give them a big welcoming hug.
Yes, he probably
Like the
would have done.
hoodies.
Yeah, he probably would have done.
Yeah, but only in the homes of the working class council
Oh, yeah.
estates, which is where they want to go.
Oh,
Wouldn't want to put them in these nice little Oxford villages, to be honest. So I just thought that. I mean, I did hear that apparently the Conservatives' first plan for to be on the deportation bill was anyone that was a member of the Labour Party, but apparently that was actually removed.
Oh.
So someone said it was a joke. They said they'd have to export too many of their own members for that.
I just don't trust them at all.
So we don't trust them, but even they have a deportation bill. So then what about asylum itself? Do we want to scrap the asylum system?
We really have to, because it was created after World War II to deal with European asylees, as in people who are coming out of the worst war that Europe has ever had, not for a bunch of grifters from the third world who are like, oh, they're giving away money in England? I'll have to get there as quickly as possible. And didn't Macron come over yesterday and actually lecture us about being a kind of Shangri-La, an El Dorado for illegals? He was like, look, they're coming to France because they know you give them free money, so stop giving them free money and they won't come to us. And it's like, my God, everyone's berating us about this.
Well,
like,
it's obvious. We are giving them free housing, free hotels, free healthcare, and it's all based around
spending money.
Our generous system of benefits and a healthcare, which was created for our own population after the 1940s, to reward ourselves for fighting in a war to defend liberty across Europe. And one of the ways that the Europeans, in particular the French, are supporting us is by allowing these people to come over. It's not within their wit to stop it. And if you listen to Marie Le Pen's party, although she's not in charge, the recent mayor of the region for her party has turned around and said France can do this.
Yeah,
we can do this within the current law. You don't need to change
But the point Macron was making is that we act as a lodestone for migrants to France.
Yeah.
And so if we would just stop giving migrants money, they would also stop going to France. So like we're an albatross around everyone's bloody neck at this point. Anyway, yeah.
We're too lazy.
No more
too
asylum.
not thinking. So Rupert Lowe comes out and says, okay, the asylum backlogs, we don't need migrant hotels, we don't need endless appeal. What we do is actually very simple. So he's moving from the deport, we need to detain and deport, of course, United States. Very clear language from Stephen Miller in there. But that's the line, he says, scrap the entire asylum system, no more asylum seekers.
Yep.
Now, I like the sentiment. I do agree that we need to get to that stage at the moment because it's being abused. I said a long, long time ago that there are genuine asylum seekers, as we saw coming out of Ukraine, for example, that are now being caught up with all those who are grifting because they're coming as economics.
But the thing is, when it comes to things like that, where it's like, oh, there's an actual invasion of a country, we can just decide and take an executive action. We don't need like a universal eternal rule about, oh, if you land on our shores and claim asylum, then we have to take you. No, we can just say, oh, look, the Ukrainians are being invaded by the Russians. We'll take 200,000 Ukrainian women and children then. You know, we can just say it. We don't have to have like a universal rule for it.
But we could actually temporarily suspend our membership of the UN Convention on Refugees.
Temporarily.
Yeah, we could, because to include it, even our temporary withdrawal from that, whilst we then work within the UN to try and make an amendment to exclude economic refugees, that would be one argument. That means that the very claim that you just suggested there, that we could allow those who are genuine refugees from places like Ukraine, would fall now under our laws.
Yes.
So we no longer have to apply the law of giving those people who are refugees legal advice, hotels, money, housing, dentistry or health. Just that temporary removal means that it removes itself from our laws.
Yeah, and I want to put the most cynical man in charge of deciding who is actually a refugee as well.
How would we temporarily remove ourselves from that?
Well, we can actually announce it to the UN that we're no longer signatory. And that we can say that we're no longer...
It's that easy.
It's that simple.
It's as simple as that.
They've got no power over us.
No, they've no power. We could just withdraw from that. No one's ever tried to argue it. No one's ever tried to suggest it, other than myself over many occasions. And I'm not seeing it from Rupert Lowe. I'm not seeing it from the Conservative Party. I would never expect them to do that anyway, or anyone else. But here we have the first person saying scrap the entire asylum system, and that's that. So what do we get from Nigel?
Sex with refugees is jasmine scented. Did you not see that?
No.
Are you not familiar with that?
No.
There was a billboard that was something like, it just said on it, sex with refugees is jasmine scented and beautiful, or something like that.
Was this like led by donkeys or something?
No, I don't know.
Oh
I'll
my
find
God,
it.
I've not seen that. That is serious. So all we get with Nigel
Very
Farage,
telling either way.
that is going to stick.
It was.
This is going to be some feminist group who are now wondering why it is that women are so unsafe in this country.
It was an artist, and it was put up in Shoreditch.
Or maybe Samson can find it for us.
Oh my Lord!
Or let Samson get that.
Yeah.
That could be the thing we can end on. To be honest.
Yeah, in the interest of time, I don't know whether we should, but let's just
crack on. We'll power through now because I know it's around 19. So Farage has criticised the asylum system, but he hasn't made any suggestions to how to amend it, review it, or do anything about it.
Exactly.
So round two, again, we go to Lowe. Then I go, let's have a look at defending against Islam. Now, obviously...
Okay, look, let's just go to round 3 or 4 or whatever. We know where Farage has.
Democracies possess the necessary to contend just as Muslims country, or do we shape our country? That's pretty strong from Rupert Lowe. Yeah, let's defend it. Knights Templar, if you think this man will save Britain even with Trump on behind, he's
Farage
a
is going to
fraud.
capitulate. He's literally like, we can't alienate Islam. Oh, they've grown too strong to ban halal. Basically, we're just going to capitulate and see if they'll convert to British values. Thanks, Nige. Thanks.
So, there, key point there, Islam. Rupert Lowe, 3-0 at the moment. He's knocking down. Next one, we've come in. Ayaan Hirsi, obviously, she talked very clearly and just slipped this about the dangers of Sharia councils existing in the UK and frequently ruling on marriages.
Nigel Farage is like, I'll check with my imam.
So where do we go on round 4 on no? Is it round 4? Yeah, round 4 on kind of the courts, and then we have Rupert Lowe. I pushed the Ministry of Justice to bring forward legislative proposals to ban Sharia courts. Nigel, on the other corner, is no. Richard Tice said we're a Christian nation. Sharia law has no place in the UK society.
Did he bang his head or something?
I don't know. He looked like
Okay, I'm just gonna say that Inevitable West is run by an Indian, and that could well be fake news.
Yeah.
So,
is it?
So just saying.
Did you ever get confirmation of that? I know he said he was going to meet up with Lord Miles, and then it fell through.
Yeah.
He couldn't show up.
The West.
But when Rock, is this true?
Yeah.
Rock, that's not what I asked.
Okay, yeah. Inevitable West was apparently unmasked as an Indian crypto fraudster.
Oh, dear me. Okay, well, he's gone now. But anyway, when it comes to Farage, all I could...
There's a Daily Mail article about it and
This
everything.
Daily... Okay. all right.
This is Farage.
Anyway.
There is Farage on Sharia courts.
Ah, yeah, he's got nothing to say. Well, you don't want to alienate Islam, you see.
Tumbleweed. Just
Probably
coming
check
around.
with Zia Yusuf.
Yeah. So we're going to round 6. So we got round 6. We're going to whip
5,
through here. Halal slaughter. Come on. Surely Farage must want to come out and do something like that. Halal isn't farming, it's torture. Farage is asked. Nah.
In fact, can we watch this just so you can see how insufferably weak Farage is?
Yeah.
Does he agree with non-stunned meat such as kosher and halal?
I don't like it.
Should it be banned?
I don't like it.
Should we only do it the traditional fashion in this country?
Do you know what, Nick? I think we've got to a point where the size of these communities is such that it's really quite difficult to do. We could ban it, but we would, if we were to ban it.
I just can't listen to him any longer on that, because the size of the communities, even if we are taking it as 10%, is still 90% of the population doesn't want it.
Yeah, I've capitulated
therefore,
completely.
I'm giving up. So there we go. Round 6 goes to low again. Where we are now, family businesses and farms, the bedrock of society. I thought I'll move away from a bit of Islam.
Yep.
Let's get on farming. And very clear, we want to protect them when it comes to tumbleweed again.
So
Tumbleweed for Farage.
I think
Tumbleweed Farage, I call it now.
Farage did speak at the farmer protest, but having created any kind of substantive policy or have done anything, well,
Nope.
yeah. I suspect that he probably is against the inheritance tax, though, in his defence. So...
Oh, he is. I think he would be on that. I haven't seen it on that, but on specific policies on farming, not
yeah,
seeing any.
he hasn't. Yeah, this is Farage's eternal problem. Though it's like policy. I'm in the middle of a conversation.
Yeah.
Back in March, Farage vowed to abolish inheritance tax,
Yeah.
but it has been 4 months since
he's
then,
done
so
that,
he might have done a complete 180 on it.
Yeah.
He's not done anything on there that we've seen. So, okay, let's something less esoteric or less damaging to the families of farmers, and let's talk about football and meddling by the big corporations and obviously the regulator. Well, clearly, Rupert Lowe, leave football alone. I think he said something else. He'd leave effing football alone, but I think that was put out the night.
This is an easy win for Nigel, though, right?
Yeah, surely. Oh, and there is Farage.
Oh.
It's all about me.
Yeah, interesting.
Reform FC with
Look at this
11
Farage
Farage shirts.
Yeah. But I mean, the thing is, though, this sort of thing is really annoying because this is a completely unsubstantive issue. Like, who cares? Like, I don't care what the regulator does to football, and okay, it might be regulated, and then years later it'll be unregulated or whatever. It's not really very important to the future of the country, and so on everything that is just not interesting or important, Farage is there front and center. Look at me, lads. When it comes to, do I really want my children to live in a Sharia-controlled country? No. Nigel Farage is like, well, it's kind of happening.
Is it
kind
as
of
bad as Lee Anderson and his bacon sarnies, though?
No, but I like that's the one thing.
Oh wait, no, actually, Nigel Farage has done that same thing on GB News, didn't he?
Nothing wrong with. Oh yeah, God, what was? Oh, what was
They're
it
really
with?
focusing on the important issue.
What was it with? Like it was Quavers or something, wasn't it?
It was some nonsense.
Have you put polish on your shoes?
No,
Rupert Lowe is the one who's going out and making actual substantive statements, and Farage either isn't making a statement or is saying something.
Smoky bacon crisps.
Smoky bacon crisps. What about them?
Well, the EU's going to ruin them.
Yeah.
And Keir Starmer surrendered, and so Nigel Farage's like, not my smoky bacon crisp.
I mean, I like smoky bacon crisps.
Sure,
but there are other issues.
Yeah, but they will be halal smoky bacon crisps. That's the thing.
I don't feel that the future of the country hinges on this issue.
So I'm going to whip through the last two. Then, round 9, we're talking about COVID and the vaccine mandates. Clearly, Rupert's come out with this recently. And as we hear from Andrew Bridgen, that Farage and Tice, he actually said the opposite. I'm not speaking about vaccines. If you know what's good for you, you won't either. If that's not being told that I'm being controlled.
Was there a gun to his head when he said this?
No, I spoke to Andrew.
I do like that though, picture from Gary Conway.
I spoke to Andrew
on
Bridgen
every poster.
So Bridgen, basically, he knew that this was going to be a politically difficult issue.
Yeah.
And he thought, right, okay, well, I'll approach Farage as an outsider because, I mean, he only stands to gain, right? I mean,
Yeah.
what does Farage lose? At the time, I think he wasn't even elected. So it's just...
Well, he was videoed banging pots and pans for the NHS during lockdowns, wasn't he?
Exactly, and it's an issue whose time is coming as well.
Yeah.
So if you were Farage, you'd be like, okay, well, I can be on the forefront of this and I can win more political points. But Farage is forever yesterday's man, always behind the crest of the wave. So he just was like, look, this is a dangerous issue. You'll have to fight it out and you'll probably be in trouble. And Farage was like, yeah, I'm not.
Well, like so much else with Farage, I imagine he put his ego into it. Because there's videos of him doing things like banging pots and pans and supporting it, I imagine if he feels like he goes back on it and admits that he was wrong about something, that's a blow to his ego.
Yeah, and I just think he's just sticking there with who they think's in charge. And finally, I'm going to end up on the Justice for the Batley School grammar teacher. The kind of hidden issues of what will happen to many of us if Farage's policies of ignorance and ignoring everything that really matters come to fore. This will happen to more and more of us. We will actually be forced out of jobs, schools, and placed in hiding. And of course, that's what Rupert says. Farage, once more, tumbleweed. And so I will end by saying, what is it that we've got? Reform will be dead and buried by 2029. I think they're on the way down. We're already seeing something like 30,000 of its members have gone in the last few months.
Is that true?
Yeah, apparently. Well, we saw the height of what they've got, and now they've got their own ticker is going down.
Remember when they said, the ticker isn't really connected to things, or stupidly that it was actually connected.
Yeah.
So now it's gone down. I saw it, I think it was yesterday or the day before, it gone down by 10,000. I don't know what it is today. I can check. But it is actually connected. So actually they did something.
Well, if they carry on like this and continue to disappoint the members of the party, I can see that. But there is plenty of time between now and 2029. And if the Conservatives carry on with Kemi and don't present themselves as a viable political alternative, Restore Britain, as far as I'm aware right now, isn't a party. It's a movement, and very self-aware as a movement. That's how they consider themselves. So by 2029, Reform might still be considered by many people as the only political alternative. So we'll see. Maybe they'll be able to turn it around before then.
I think the political winds at the moment are showing a lot of people are feeling disappointed with Farage, and he's losing ground, although those who feel that they're going to get jobs as councillors and MPs will stick by them. Conservatives are sticking there. And Restore and Ben have lost a little bit of political capital by not joining together, but at least they're maintaining something. They have about a year.
Do they have any cooperation going on?
No, they have, I think, in terms of the world of politics, they have about a year, that's all, in which they can gain a huge number of members within Restore and either then have to come out and challenge Farage, because they either take over the Conservatives or they take out Farage. But after a year, that'll be seen, because it's getting too close to a general election.
And the energy will dissipate.
That's right. The energy will go and people will start to get fed up and go, it's Farage or nothing.
If you would like to watch the full uncut version that is also uncensored, head on over to lotuseaters.com to find out more.